Hey everyone, I'm here with Jim Kempf today. And Jim, I appreciate you taking your time today out of your busy schedule to meet with me.
Absolutely. Thanks, Lori. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, I'm glad.
Looking forward to it.
Good. Kind of pulled you away at the last minute, didn't I?
That's all good.
I just want to let you know that I've got a lot of questions for you about the market today. And I did type them up because I didn't want to forget everything that I wanted to ask
Okay.
you. So if you don't mind, I am going to read some of them here. But
all right. I hope I can answer them.
The first one,
all right.
How would you describe the market? Is it a buyer's market, a seller's market? Is it balanced?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say it's predominantly a seller's market still.
Oh, okay.
I do think there are areas of town, though, where you see some differences there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Certain, we see it in certain HOAs, certain condo complexes, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a significant buyer's market in those areas, but I think overall I would still call it a seller's market.
Okay.
Most of the clients that we're looking for or working with seem to be first-time home buyers.
Okay.
Price points maybe in the $200 to $350 kind of range. It seems like, and that's still very competitive.
Okay,
is
well,
what we're seeing.
Good. Okay, well, How long has it been a seller's market?
Oh boy,
Long time.
2000, COVID-ish.
Oh gosh,
right?
that terrible word.
Right?
COVID. Yeah, keep bringing that up, but it is the facts.
Right. Exactly.
So, what is the current average days on the market for single-family homes, and how has that trended over the past 6 months?
Yeah. And the exact number I may not have, but I think it's 35 or 40 days, somewhere in that ballpark. It
definitely has gone up. I think it's even the last 6 months.
Last year, it's definitely gone up. I think in terms of a days or a month supply, we're at about 2.5,
Mm-hmm.
where I would say probably this time last year we were maybe closer to 1.5. If I have that, my memory serves me correctly, which I hope it does.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's and I'm not so sure that that's necessarily. I think that's just a slowing of the market. I don't think inventory is drastically higher than it was this time last year. I think the volume's down a little bit. So when you're looking at that month supply, divided by your average sales, which is a little bit lower. So I think it kind of artificially inflates that number a little bit.
Okay, yeah, interesting. So based on the current local market, what is the most critical piece of advice that you would give a seller right now regarding the pricing of a home?
You got to be right on the price. You got to be on the money is what I would tell them. That's what I tell them.
Yeah.
You really do. I believe that in this market, you cannot underprice a home.
Mm-hmm, that's true.
A lot of people, especially if they haven't sold a home in the past 5 or 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
they play by the old rules where I'm going to ask more so that we can come down because everybody, right, gives you a lower offer. Well, that's really not the way we operate in the last 5 years, right? It's now you start a list and how much higher you're going to go.
Mm-hmm.
So we counsel our clients that it's just very important. You only get one chance to be a new listing, right? So we just try to counsel them that you really have to be right on the money in terms of pricing right out of the gate.
So what there's a lot of hype about over asking price. Would a seller be okay to price their home above what the market would be?
I would be careful doing that because what I see happen when you push a little too hard on that price, you don't get the responses that you're thinking you're going to get, right?
Gotcha.
I know from a seller's perspective, this sounds like backwards, right? But the truth of it is you're better off pricing it a little lower,
Mm-hmm.
and people will see that value and they'll line up at the door to throw contracts at you and drive that price higher than you might think you'll even get. So it seems backwards to a lot of people, right? Especially, again, if you haven't sold or bought a house in the last 5 or 10 years or longer, but that's what we see.
Could a house potentially sit on the market longer if they price it over that asking
absolutely.
price? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I never advise that, right?
Yeah, I try not to.
So next question.
Yeah.
In this environment, what marketing adjustments do you recommend for properties that receive little interest after the first 2 weeks on the market? That's a big one.
Yeah, and as bad as it sounds, it all comes down to price, right?
Yeah.
So you really have to. What we try to do is we look at what our activity level is, especially some of the websites that our listings go to, right? We can look at some stats and see what kind of activity we're getting in those listings. But if you're not getting people in the door, you've got a disconnect. And that disconnect is it comes down to price, right? Every time. Everybody says price or condition, but in the end, it's price, right? Yeah. So if you sit a little too long, and really about that 2-week point is where you're too long, the only thing that you can really do there to garner that interest and get that interest back in the house is adjust that price a little bit. And unfortunately, that's downward, right? So that's really just the only way to spark that interest again.
What happens when the seller reduces their price because they put it on the market too high? When they reduce it, what happens? I mean, does it sell right away then?
I guess what I would say there is when you hit the right number, it sells right away. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we have had situations in the past couple years where we have had to make small adjustments, and then all of a sudden you make that adjustment, and next thing you know, you got multiple offers on the house.
Okay,
right?
Interesting.
And so, I think it's really very important for a seller to be correct on that price, or it's, I think, detrimental to them in the end.
Yeah,
for sure.
Great information on that. This one here is something that is starting to happen a little bit more, and something that we really need to talk about. So how do you prepare a seller for the possibility of a low appraisal in a rapidly appreciating or decelerating market?
Yeah, that's a tough one, really. We do see sometimes where homes are selling over list price, and then that appraisal comes back and it's low. Man, we try to have that conversation up front and share with them the possibility of that happening, because sometimes buyers get in a little bit of a frenzy, and they'll throw money at a house that it just really doesn't deserve, right? And the sellers, then they're in their mind, they're cashing that check already. And when the appraisal comes back, it's problematic, right? What we try to share with them in that situation, or to kind of prepare them for that, is, hey, look, if the buyer's got a little overheated on your house and the appraisal comes back a little short, just know you're still getting every dollar that house is worth, right? So trying to, I guess, make it as good as you can, I guess, to their feelings, right? Just to know that they're getting every dollar they can. And that's what we try to do. If it works all the time, I'm not sure.
That's right. Well, and the values of homes are based on the market, what the market will allow. We've always told sellers in the past that their home is worth what the buyer's willing to pay.
Right.
To a certain extent, of course.
Right.
And to the buyers, the seller is only going to give the deal that the seller's willing to allow.
That's right.
So, it kind of goes both ways in that sense. But,
it does.
Do you foresee the market shifting in the next 6 to 12 months?
I don't think drastically, no. I really don't. I think we are kind of moving a little more towards being a little bit of balance in the market. But again, just based on at least the most recent clients that we're working with, at least, it's still a seller's market. So I don't see it drastically changing.
Just a little?
Maybe a little bit. Yeah, I think a little bit. I think that over time it's going to shift. It's going to start coming back more toward a balanced market. But I don't think we're there yet. But I think it's slowly getting there.
Should buyers still be concerned about the interest rates? Should they have ever been concerned about the interest rates?
That's a great question too.
It's a tough subject.
It is. It's kind of a tough subject. A lot of first-time home buyers, and again, we deal with our fair share, they're used to hearing about these 3% rates, right? Mom and dad had a 3% rate, and right, all that. And that's just not the case anymore, right? So really interest rates over the last month or so, have come down a little bit, which is making it more competitive. And I think I've seen rates in the low to mid 6s, which historically speaking is really good, right? I think average is in the mid 7s or so, if you look way back in time, what the average might be. So really rates are in good shape right now. I think, of course, to people used to paying 3%, they're not good. But the reality of the market is they're really not that bad. So we just have to tell people that, they kind of are what they are. Don't expect them to go to 3, but hopefully that'll never happen again.
Right.
Because honestly, if it does, it means there's a problem with the economy, or there's a problem somewhere, right?
And our financial investments kind of go downhill.
Well, right, exactly. So you really don't want that to happen.
That's right.
But that rate conversation, we tell our buyers, especially now, hey, they're really pretty good. Maybe they get a little bit better, but hey, if they do, you can always refinance.
Yeah.
Right? So I mean,
Yeah.
get in the house, start building equity. You'll be ahead of the game.
Yeah.
You know,
And you know,
long term.
they need to remember too, you know, when I started real estate in the 90s, you know, they were 8-9%. And I know that's not even the highest, because I
Right.
think my parents paid 18% on their
Yeah,
home, you know,
early
50
'80s.
years ago.
Right.
But, you know, when they were at 8-9% when I started, we were kicking our heels when they got down to 7 and 8. And we were literally telling people they'll never go any lower than that.
Right.
So we got lucky, but, you know,
Right.
there is no foreseen in the future that it's going to get to that
Right.
point ever again.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, let's move on, because I know
Okay.
you got things to do. Describe your process for staying updated on local real estate market trends.
You know, I just we get a million emails in this business, right? But
Yes.
a lot of them are good. We get a lot of information from the St. Louis Association of Realtors.
Mm-hmm.
They always have good informational content coming out, webinars and things of that nature. So we try to participate in those as much as we can, and you know, just staying abreast of you know, some of the local news medias and national news, that type of stuff, and just try to pick up what I can on the multiple listing service. And our market stats
Mm-hmm.
is a really great resource that I like to play around in when I can, and you know, it gives you some good information as well.
That's good. You know, and for the consumers out there, please try to avoid all the internet, you know, fluff.
Yeah.
If
yeah.
you really want the truth, call a realtor, you know, because
Yeah,
we have the facts.
That's a great point. If I can add just a little bit to that, because I kind of mentioned the news. When you hear national news,
Mhm.
right? National news is not necessarily St. Louis news when
Right.
it comes to the real estate market. So make sure when you hear the doom and gloom about the national real estate market, call a realtor in St. Louis. They'll tell you how it really is.
Yeah,
That's what I
good.
would tell you.
Jim, I'm not going to keep you any longer. I appreciate your time.
My pleasure.
I do want to share with everybody that you can check out his podcast, him and his business partner, Danielle Kempf, on Getting Real with Real Estate. Get it on Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcast. It's very
Awesome.
interesting, because it really is getting real with real estate.
we
It's
try.
fun. It's fun to listen to. I've listened to it many times.
Thanks for the plug.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Thanks again for joining me.
My
I really
pleasure, Lori.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
I'll
thank
let you can find this video and other videos on 15 Minutes with Lori. Have a great day, everybody.
I'll try.
It's fun to listen to. I've listened to it many times.
Thanks for the plug.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Thanks again for joining me.
My
I really
pleasure, Lori.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
I'll
thank
let
you.
You can find this video and other videos on 15 Minutes with Lori. Have a great day, everybody.